The wind howled over the icy expanse, its sharp bites slicing through even the thickest layers of clothing. Snowflakes danced wildly in the gale, creating a blinding white curtain that turned day into a cold, eternal dusk. To the alien soldiers of the Fact Dominion, it was an environment as hostile as the humans they had come to conquer. Yet, standing in their sleek thermal suits, weapons glowing faintly with energy, they laughed as they trudged forward. They called this resistance, one sneered, his voice translating through his helmet speakers. A few ancient rifles? This isn't a war. It's pest control. Their commander chuckled, antennae twitching in amusement. Primitive tools for a primitive species. They'll freeze long before we find them. Unbeknownst to the aliens, a lone figure lay prone atop a ridge, perfectly camouflaged against the snow. Through a scope fogged with his own breath, the sniper watched the invaders with a cold, unyielding focus. His name had long been forgotten in the chaos of war. To those who once fought alongside him, he was simply the ghost of the blizzard. The rifle in his hands, a relic by modern standards, was battered but functional, a remnant of Earth's resilience in the face of annihilation. It lacked the sleekness of alien plasma rifles, its steel frame scarred from countless battles. Yet, in the hands of a master, it became a precision instrument of war. He adjusted the sight with gloved fingers, every movement deliberate and silent. Down below, the alien platoon spread out, their confidence evident in their relaxed pace. They believed the storm was their ally, hiding them from any human resistance. The sniper knew better. The blizzard wasn't a barrier. It was a weapon, and he intended to wield it. He steadied his breath, each exhale blending seamlessly into the swirling frost. His finger hovered over the trigger as he picked his first target, a commander barking orders to a group of soldiers. One squeeze, one shot, and the tide of the skirmish would begin to turn. But he hesitated, not from doubt, but from calculation. Each bullet was a decision, each kill a move in a larger game. Patience had kept him alive this long, and it would carry him through this battle. The aliens moved closer, their footsteps crunching faintly through the snow. The sound was swallowed almost instantly by the wind, but to the sniper, it was deafening. His heartbeat slowed, his focus narrowing to the scope's crosshairs. The first shot rang out, a sharp crack that echoed through the desolate expanse. The alien commander crumpled, a clean hole through his helmet. The soldiers froze, their laughter replaced by stunned silence. "What was that?" one shouted, his voice tinged with panic. The sniper didn't wait to see their reaction. He rolled to his side, his movements fluid despite the heavy snow, and disappeared into the storm. He had already scouted his next position, a shallow depression 50 meters away. The key to survival wasn't just accuracy, it was unpredictability. As the aliens scrambled to regroup, their sensors flared with activity. Heat signatures bloomed across their displays, scattered in every direction. They cursed their human adversary, mistaking the signals for reinforcements. They didn't realize the readings were decoys, small, heat-emitting devices the sniper had planted days ago, knowing this moment would come. "Spread out and find them," the alien commander barked, his voice shaking with anger. The sniper observed from his new vantage point, his lips curling into a faint, humorless smile. He knew their tactics, how they relied on technology to compensate for their lack of adaptability. But here, in this unforgiving wilderness, their gadgets were little more than toys. He adjusted his rifle again, sighting another target. This time, he aimed for a soldier frantically scanning the area with a handheld sensor. The shot rang true, the alien collapsing into the snow. The others erupted in a flurry of panicked motion, firing wildly into the blizzard. It was chaos, and the sniper thrived in chaos. For hours, this deadly game continued. Each time the aliens thought they had him pinned, He vanished like a ghost, only to reappear somewhere else. The snow, once their perceived advantage, became their prison. It masked their enemies' movements, dulled their senses, and sapped their morale. As the storm intensified, the sniper paused, his rifle resting across his lap. He scanned the horizon, watching the alien forces falter, their cohesion unraveling. His mission was clear: stall them, confuse them, and bleed them dry until reinforcements could arrive or the civilians could escape. And he would do it alone. The wind carried the faint sound of alien voices, now tinged with desperation. They were learning, slowly, that this wasn't their battle to win. The sniper's expression remained unchanged, his resolve unshaken. In the distance, a faint red glow signaled the arrival of another alien patrol. He shifted his position, preparing for the next round of the hunt. The storm raged on, but the battlefield belonged to him now. The ghost of the blizzard took a deep breath, his fingers settling on the trigger. The war wasn't over. Not yet. The aliens scrambled into defensive formations, their training faltering under the weight of an enemy they couldn't see. Snow whipped around them in furious waves, biting through their suits and blurring their vision. Their advanced sensors, calibrated for pristine conditions, flickered erratically, struggling to isolate anything in the storm. Above them, perched on a jagged outcrop, the sniper observed their frantic movements. He had learned long ago that war was as much about psychology as it was about firepower. The blizzard was his ally, its endless, howling fury a perfect cloak for the chaos he would unleash. He shifted his aim, focusing on a squad huddled too closely together. A mistake. One precise shot to their center, and the plasma pack of a fallen soldier ignited, erupting in a blue flash that sent the others scrambling. Panic rippled through their ranks, their cohesion disintegrating further. The sniper smirked, though there was no joy in it. He didn't need to see their faces to know the fear setting in. It was written in their every movement. The jerky, erratic way they scanned the white void, the desperate shouts that carried faintly through the storm. Fear bred mistakes, and mistakes were opportunities. One of the aliens, braver, or perhaps more foolish than the others, broke away from his group. The soldier advanced cautiously, his weapon raised and visor glowing faintly as he scanned the snowdrifts. The sniper tracked him silently, letting him take a few more steps before squeezing the trigger. The shot struck the alien squarely in the chest, dropping him where he stood. The body slumped into the snow, but the sniper didn't linger. He slid back into cover, vanishing into the storm as the remaining aliens unleashed a volley of plasma fire in his direction. Their shots lit up the blizzard with flickering neon bursts, but they hit nothing but empty air. Behind the scope, the sniper's breathing was steady. Each movement was methodical, each step calculated. He navigated the battlefield as though it were a chessboard, always thinking 3 moves ahead. His boots crunched softly against the snow, but even that sound was lost in the storm's fury. The aliens regrouped, their commanding officer barking orders that crackled through the storm. They deployed small drones, orb-like machines that hovered low to the ground, scanning for heat signatures. The sniper watched from a distance as one drone swept past his old position, its sensors lighting up on a decoy he'd planted earlier. The device, a thermal beacon fashioned from scavenged parts, emitted just enough heat to mimic a human presence. The aliens closed in on the decoy, their weapons raised, only to realize too late that it was a trap. A rigged explosive detonated, sending shards of shrapnel tearing through their formation. The sniper heard their agonized screams but didn't flinch. He adjusted his scope, targeting another group attempting to flank his position. One by one they fell, their bodies crumpling into the snow. The aliens began firing indiscriminately, their shots carving glowing scars into the landscape. Each shot revealed their position, making them easy targets for the sniper's steady aim. The storm raged on, and the aliens' advantage in numbers and technology was steadily eroding. Their suits, designed for short-term engagements, were beginning to fail under the relentless cold. Frost formed on their visors, and their movements grew sluggish as the bitter wind sapped their strength. For the sniper, the blizzard was as familiar as an old friend. He moved with the confidence of someone who had spent years surviving in these conditions, his every action purposeful. The rifle in his hands was an extension of himself, and with each shot, he reminded the aliens that technology was no substitute for experience. By the third hour, the battlefield had transformed into a graveyard. Alien bodies lay half-buried in the snow, their once pristine armor marred with scorch marks and blood. The surviving soldiers were huddled together, their bravado replaced by a palpable desperation. The sniper remained unseen, his presence a specter haunting their every move. He watched as one alien fell to his knees, clawing at his helmet in frustration. Another shouted into his communicator, his voice trembling as he demanded reinforcements. But none came. The sniper repositioned once more, this time settling into a shallow depression overlooking the remnants of the alien force. He knew the storm wouldn't last forever, and when it cleared, the aliens would either retreat or regroup for a final push. Through the scope, he studied their battered formation. He could see the cracks forming, not just in their defenses, but in their morale. He had turned the blizzard into a battlefield, and now it was time to finish what he'd started. The wind screamed, carrying with it the faint echo of alien voices. The sniper took a deep breath, his finger tightening on the trigger. The hunt was far from over. The storm began to relent, its howling winds softening to a mournful whisper. Snowflakes fell more gently now, blanketing the battlefield in an eerie stillness. Visibility improved, but for the aliens, it only revealed the extent of their devastation. Their once proud platoon was reduced to a pitiful handful, their comrades lying motionless in the snow like shattered statues. The sniper crouched behind a jagged outcrop, his rifle resting lightly in his hands. He could see them clearly now. 5 survivors, their bodies hunched and weary, their glowing weapons trembling in their grips. They had abandoned any pretense of formation, clinging to one another like lost travelers in a wasteland. He studied them through the scope, noting the desperation etched into every movement. These were soldiers no longer. They were prey. But even prey, when cornered, could be dangerous. The alien's commander, still standing despite the frost creeping over his armor, barked an order in their guttural tongue. The sniper couldn't understand the words, but the intent was clear. They were rallying for one final push, a desperate attempt to flush him out before the storm faded entirely. He let them move. Each step they took brought them closer to the trap he'd set during the storm's height. Beneath the snowdrifts lay a network of tripwires and buried charges, each meticulously placed to funnel them into a narrow kill zone. The commander raised a hand, signaling for his troops to fan out. They moved cautiously, their weapons sweeping from side to side. One of them stumbled, triggering a tripwire hidden beneath the snow. The explosion was immediate, a fiery burst that sent the alien flying backward. The remaining soldiers froze, their confidence evaporating as the echoes of the blast faded into the icy air. The sniper seized the moment, his rifle cracking sharply as he took down another target. The alien fell without a sound, his body crumpling into the snow. Panic set in. The last 3 broke into a frantic sprint, abandoning all strategy in their attempt to escape the invisible predator. But the blizzard had turned against them. Snowbanks shifted beneath their feet, and gusts of wind obscured their vision. The sniper picked them off one by one, each shot precise and unrelenting. Now only the commander remained. He stood alone in the clearing, his weapon lowered, his posture sagging under the weight of defeat. He turned slowly, scanning the landscape with a defeated gaze. The sniper watched through the scope, his finger resting lightly on the trigger. For a moment, the two locked eyes, human and alien, predator and prey. The commander dropped his weapon, raising his hands in a gesture of surrender. His breath steamed in the cold air, his body visibly trembling. The sniper hesitated, the scope trained on the alien's chest. In another time, another place, he might have accepted the surrender. But not here. Not now. These invaders had brought war to his home, had slaughtered his people, and desecrated the snow-covered ground with their arrogance. The shot was quick, the sound sharp and final. The alien commander crumpled, joining his soldiers in the silence of the frozen expanse. The sniper lowered his rifle, his breath clouding the air as he surveyed the battlefield. It was over. For now. He stood, his joints aching from hours spent in the cold, and slung the rifle over his shoulder. The storm had passed, leaving behind a pristine, deadly silence. The sun broke through the clouds, casting long shadows over the snow, its light glinting off the spent casings and frozen bodies. He turned toward the horizon, where the faint glow of distant fires marked the remains of his village. His mission wasn't complete, not until every last invader was driven from the planet. As he trudged away, his figure fading into the snow, the blizzard closed in once more. The ghost of the blizzard had vanished, leaving behind only the echoes of his fight and the chilling reminder that on Earth, even nature was a weapon. The aliens would learn this lesson well, for in the cold, humans were relentless, and in the blizzard, they were unstoppable.